Hello everyone, welcome back to another weekly reading vlog. So it is Tuesday, so I didn't film anything yesterday. Whoops. So yeah, I mean I'm kind of stressed right now, to be honest, because as I've been saying, my timetable changes, and I mean I genuinely don't know how I'm gonna have any time to do anything, and that stresses me out. So today though is a shorter day. It's not too bad, and so at least I'm easing myself into it. And yesterday was a bank holiday today, so I didn't do anything except laze around, and I didn't even do much reading. I feel like I should just give up on the TBR, but also I am way too stubborn to do that. So I'm about halfway through Small Spaces by Catherine Arden, and I'm liking it so far, and I'm going to try and finish that today. It's Tuesday evening and I have like 10% left of Small Spaces and I'm really enjoying it. I think Catherine Arden's writing, like, yes, of course it's simplified for a middle grade, but she definitely still does an incredible job of creating an atmosphere, and I really enjoy the characters and the story and all of that. So it's going good so far. I'm going to finish that in a few minutes. And then the main reason for this is because I forgot to show you them yesterday is so I do not own the first one, the A Darker Shade of Magic edition of these, but I wanted these anyway. So this is a Gathering of Shadows, and let me get towards light. There you go. So light, kind of grey sprayed edges. I think it's absolutely beautiful. The end papers are also gorgeous, and they are also signed. And then the other one, the chunky, and that is a Contouring of Light, and then this one has like dark metallic edges, and they have different end papers. So yeah, I love them so much. I think they're so beautiful. And I mean, I don't have the first one, which is oops, but I still don't care that much. I just finished Small Space by Catherine Arden, and I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. I guessed the twist at the end and I was very pleased, and then I realized, I was like, this was a middle grade book. You are not the intended audience. Why are you so pleased that you guessed? But as I said, I did overall enjoy it. I don't have too much to say on it. I liked the characters. I thought they were very adorable, and the friendships between them and how it developed was, again, also so cute. And yeah, Catherine Arden, she knows how to build an atmosphere, whether it is an adult fantasy or whether it is a middle grade horror. Like, she knows how to do that, and she does it really well. And there definitely was that ominous, creepy tension, and I really like that. And I mean, if I read this as a child, I would be terrified. I mean, I'm a chicken anyway, and I was okay with it. Probably mostly because I was reading it on the bus during daytime. But yeah, I was reading it, I was like, oh my god, if I was a child, this would terrify me. So yeah, so that's going to be a 4 out of 5 stars. So the plan for this evening, it is 4 o'clock. So I'm going, having a shower, and then I'm going to do out some notes for today's lectures. And then I think 7 o'clock, Beth from Book's Nest has sprints going on, and I think Jade and Gavin are on them with her. So I might join in those and do some more reading. Start on Small Favours by Ernie Craig. So yeah, a lot of smalls happening. I'm not sure whether I should start Small Favours or my best friend's Exorcism. I mean, you can't help me because this will be going, I should hopefully be finished both of them by the time this goes up, but yeah, I don't know which one I want to start. Good morning everyone. So it is Wednesday, and this is going to be just a pretty quick update. So yesterday I started my best friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I was going to start Small Favours, but then I changed my mind because I wanted to have just like an ebook, which it's an ebook on SCRIBD, so because I don't want to carry the book up with me. So that's why. I'm about 50 pages in, and I like it so far. I like the like chapter titles, and also like it's definitely like, you know, the 80s vibes are strong, which I mean, I was not alive in the 80s, but my mum like that was like her teens was the 80s. She'd like always tell a story and the setting is always the 80s, and so I'm just like, yes, the 80s. So yeah, so I'm enjoying it so far, but obviously not much has happened yet. No demons have appeared, so we will see. And I'm not sure how much reading I'm going to get done today, to be honest. I have filmed a video this morning, very productive. I'm getting the bus in a few minutes. It is about 10 o'clock, and I might try and read on the bus, I think. And then I have a lecture, then I will be like having dinner up there, and then I have a lab, and so I'm not finishing until 5, and I'll probably read on the bus again on the way back, but that's probably the only chance of reading I'm gonna do today. It's Wednesday evening, yes, and I mean, look at my hair. Can you tell I've been out in the rain today? And this is just a quick update. I haven't read too much more. I'd say maybe another 30-ish pages. And I'm still liking it so far, but I'm about a quarter of the way through and like nothing really strange or horror-y has happened yet, but I'm pretty sure it's coming soon. So yeah. And it is about 7:20, so I'm just like, I'm honestly like gonna like get into bed. I think Rowan has some sprints on at 8, and I'll try and read a bit more. So yeah, so that is the plan. And yeah, that's kind of all I really have to say. So it is now Friday, and we now have, what, 3 days left of the month? So, the good thing is, I finished my best friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix last night. I'll talk about that in a second. And so that leaves 2 more books on my TBR. 3 days. Yeah. We'll talk about that though again in a second. So just like to go through what I am currently doing. So this weekend, I do not have any musicals on like I have for the past 2 weeks. So I actually have the whole weekend to do stuff, aka reading. So my plan for today is, so I'm gonna have a shower in a minute when I'm finished talking to you. Then I'm going to do all of my college work that I need to for this weekend. Because I don't have like a huge amount. Like usually I would like split it over like today and tomorrow, but like it's manageable for me to do just today, but it'll like probably take all day until like this evening. But that's my plan. Is so I have one assignment that I'm halfway finished, and I only need to, it's only like 400 more words or something. Then I have to watch 2 lectures. Then I have to write notes for about 2 or 3 lectures, and then yeah, and that is all. Which, saying it out loud, is a lot more than I originally thought, but it's manageable. And then this evening I can focus on reading. The next book that I need to read for this spooky horror reading vlog is Small Favours by Erin Craig. I'm going to try and read most of this tomorrow, and then like if I haven't finished it tomorrow, I'll finish it on Sunday, and then Sunday like afternoon I will start Black Sun. So that is the plan. Yesterday on the bus on the way home, I finished my best friend's Exorcism. I read about like 200 pages or something. I think it was actually 230-ish pages. And I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. Oops. So yeah, and like, because my first reactions to it were pretty positive, so it was kind of let down in the end, obviously. So I started off, I mean, you all saw, I was really loving the 80s vibes and the friendship and all of that, and that continued. Those were the best parts of it, in my opinion. But that was it. And so when I started it, like the last clips that I was giving you, I was like, oh, this could be a 4-star, I think. And then, like, while I was reading on the bus yesterday, I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a 3. And then by the time I finished it, I was like, no, this is a 2-star. I cannot. Like, it was so boring. How is that a horror book when I was bored out of my mind? Like, what? Like, yeah, I was so bored. The characters, I didn't like the characters really. I don't think they were supposed to be particularly likable, but I liked the friendship and how strong that connection was, but I just started getting more and more frustrated with them as characters. There was no creepy vibe. Like, I keep saying how good like the 80s vibe was, but there was no actual like horror, creepy, scary atmosphere that was built up. There was none. And I think, again, I have not read a lot of horrors, but I think that is what I look for in a scary book. It's not necessarily anything gruesome or gory. That is not what I care about, I don't think. I think what I care about is that vibe, that build up, that atmosphere, that, you know, that keeps you on edge, even if nothing actually like terrifying happens. And that is something that Small Spaces has. That's something that V.E. Schwab's Creepy Middle Grades have. That's something that Aaron A. Craig's other book, House of Salt and Sorrow, had. And I really enjoy that. I like an atmosphere. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it from this.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
So I think I will like that. Whereas there was no, you know, unsettling feeling in this book, in my opinion. Then the actual horror elements, I mean, there was maybe one thing that I was like, ooh, that's not nice. But even then, I wasn't that disgusted. You know, it didn't actually make me react. I was just reading it like, oh, that's not nice. Which, I mean, that's not the reaction you want, I don't think. I'm new to horror. Maybe that is what you're supposed to be like reading a horror. I didn't care for his writing. Like, it wasn't incredible. It wasn't like completely horrible, but sometimes it just felt like he was listing stuff off. And again, I think this kind of connects to the atmosphere point I was making. He didn't describe settings, you know, which often, you know, builds up that atmosphere. He just listed. So he's like, okay, so now they're in the woods, now they're in school, and Gretchen did this, Abby did this. Like, it was okay writing. It wasn't good. It wasn't completely horrible, but I definitely didn't love it. The premise was interesting. And so but I guess it was dealt with differently than I thought it was going to be. And I didn't like where the story went. Like, I thought it was going to be, I thought that it was going to be, so this best friend is obviously like possessed by a demon, and I presumed it was going to be like, you know, creepy stuff is happening, and, you know, also like disgusting stuff is happening, because I had heard that there's like one scene that's really like disgusting, which again, I was like, meh. Yeah, and so I presumed it was going to be like a group of people, and like they were trying to like help this friend, and all of them together were like trying to do this exorcism. Like, that's what I presumed, and like that is not what happened. And so I didn't like the direction where the plot went, and there were just some things that I thought were unnecessary to the story. So overall, I just didn't love it, and I'm very disappointed. I am definitely still going to try more of his books because I've heard great things about so many of his other stuff. I definitely want to like try Horror Store, and I'll see about some of the other ones. But yeah, I'm just really disappointed. I thought if I was gonna love any of his books, it would be this one, and I didn't. So that's a shame. So it is like a bit past 5. It's 20 past 5, and I have finished everything I need to do, kind of. Okay, I have one more thing left to do. So I've done like the 2 little assignment things I've needed to do. I watched like lectures and did notes, and now I have one more lecture to watch and the notes to do with that class. So that should take me maybe an hour. Then I can sit down and read. It's Saturday and I'm feeling bad. I've only read 50 pages. So halfway now. And I have mixed feelings so far, but overall I'm getting 4-star vibes, and I should finish it before the end of the month. happy Halloween! It is officially Sunday, and guys, I did it. So I finished 9 books off of my TBR, and I started a Black Sun. I literally only listened to the first chapter, but that's all I need to say that I've started it. So we did it. But I hope you all had a wonderful spooky day, and I actually haven't done anything, and I haven't done anything remotely spooky either. Like, I haven't watched any like scary, even like slightly spooky movies or shows or anything like that. I think what I might do, because I'm not going to bed right yet, I have one thing that I want to do before I go to bed. I think what I might do is put on an episode of Ghosts, which is not horror at all, but it does involve ghosts. So it is a BBC show, and it's written and starred by like all of the like horrible history cast. And I watched the first season and the second season, and I watched the first episode of the third season, but I never found the chance to continue. So that is what I'm going to do, I think, just to round off the spooky day. I did, of course, finish Small Favours by Erin A. Craig, and I give it 2 stars. I'm so disappointed. And it's like, and it's one of those things that, like, I'm really questioning my love for A House of Salt and Sorrows. Like, and like, I had already been questioning that. I think it was just like the mood I was in really suited it. But like, reading this, I'm like, I saw a lot of similarities between the two. Like, they are very similar in a lot of ways, and yet this one was a 2 star and that was a 5. So I don't know what it is. I started out thinking it was going to be a 4 star, and then by the time I got to the end, it was a 2. And once again, basically the exact same complaints I had for My Best Friend's Exorcism. I did prefer this one. This one was almost a 3. I think 1 more point would have pushed it into the 3-star range, but it was a 2. And whereas like My Best Friend's Exorcism was like firmly in the 2s, like it wasn't going up or down. So yeah, so that's so disappointing. Like, this was one of my most anticipated releases of the year. Yeah, this follows Ellery, and I don't know when it takes place, where it takes place. Like, it is set in our world, which was not made clear from the start, and I have no idea what the time frame is. Like, I'm presuming maybe 1800s or something. Ellery lives in Amity Falls, and it is surrounded by forest. It is a very small, tight-knit community. And then strange things start happening, and people are seeing these monsters in the woods, and people who were gone out for the supply run end up dead. And then Ellery is like trying, well, on the synopsis it says Ellery is trying to like find out what is happening, but she just doesn't do anything in the book. Like, nothing. Like, things just like happened to her, and so like she figured it out, but she did not go out of her way to find out what was happening. And it just, yeah, it's really hard to talk about it, because I honestly don't know what it is that made me dislike it, or what it is that I did like about it. Like, it's, and like, I also don't know what it is that made me like A House of Salt and Sorrows and not like this, because as I said, they are very similar, and there are probably areas that I would say she has probably improved as a writer, because like, obviously it's her second book, and yet I didn't love it as much. And I think the biggest thing that let me down was the lack of atmosphere, I guess. Like, there was definitely some moments where, like, at the beginning of the book, that I was like, yes. But as the book went on, I just didn't feel it anymore. And that was a big letdown, because that is why I loved A House of Salt and Sorrow, because the vibes were perfect. Like, it was eerie, it was by the sea, it was very dark and dreary. And this one, like, the forests were described at one point, and I was like, oh yeah, spooky. That was it. And the characters, a lot of them were replicas of characters in House of Salt and Sorrow, and I didn't love or hate any of them. Like, they were just very average characters to me. And as I said, Ellery she didn't go out of her way to do anything in the story. And I guess I don't mind a protagonist where like things are just happening to them and so they get involved. But it really bothered me with this for some reason. And I think maybe just expectations. I thought she would be like trying to figure it out. Again, kind of like in A House of Salt and Sorrow. Annalie, I think the main character was in that. She actually does. Her sisters are dying. She wants to figure out why this is happening. And so she is actually actively pursuing this. Whereas Ellery is kind of like, well, that's strange. Moving on. Like, that is just not an interesting protagonist, especially in a spooky horror. And I feel like 100 pages could have been cut off this story because it was very slow moving, but there was no plot happening. All of the plot happens in like the last 100 pages, I would say. And once again, like with House of Salt and Sorrow, there was this romance which was so unnecessary and just really got on my nerves because it was the exact same. It was the exact same romance. And I think maybe that is what bothered me, was I wanted something different. And like the setting was different, but that's like basically it. And this one was like less brutal because like in like House of Salt and Sorrow, I was afraid for the sisters because I knew they were going to be dying. And like there were some of them that was like, oh my god, please don't hurt her, please don't hurt her. Whereas this one I was like, I don't care if you kill off some random villager. All of the plot, like who these monsters were, why this was happening, was all jammed into like 100 pages. And then after that, we didn't even get a proper resolution. I guess I would like an epilogue where we see what happens right after it, because it ends very abruptly. And yeah, I think that's what really bugged me about this is, so like the first maybe 100-ish pages were good. I liked the atmosphere that was being built up. I found the characters intriguing. I didn't love them, I didn't hate them. And then the last 100 pages were also really interesting, really fast paced. But like those 200 in the middle was just like slowly building. But like it wasn't even like tension building. It was just because it wasn't getting more tense for me. It was getting me more bored. And so, yeah, so that middle part like needed to be shortened down. It needed to make me more attached to these characters. And it needed to be spookier and making that tension more obvious. And then I needed like an epilogue at the end for this to be like a really solid book for me. So yeah, so this was a 2 out of 5 stars. I'm really disappointed. Such a good reading month in October, and then just these last 2 books. And then I'm like, oh, maybe my best friend's Exorcism put me in a bad mood. And so maybe like I didn't give this a fair shot. But no, I don't, because I was enjoying it at first. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so overall, just really disappointing. And in fairness, I do think as the year has gone on, I've gotten more strict with 2-star ratings and 3-star ratings. So at the start of the year, I mean, I feel like everything at the start of the year was getting 3 and 4 stars. And like I had like 1 and 2 stars. I was just picking books that suited me more, or was it using CAWPILE, it is harder to get a very low rating. But I have definitely been a lot stricter with giving out 3 stars and 2 stars. So, because even in the past, like in previous years, like if I don't have any like strong feelings about something, and like if I was kind of just bored the whole way through, I usually would have given it like a 3-star. Like it was okay. But now, like this year, if a book bores me, I'm giving it 2 stars. Even if like there were things I like about it, like I do not want to be bored while reading. And I guess it took me a while to come to that revelation. As I said on Twitter, I read 3 horrors this week, and the creepiest one was a middle grade. Like seriously? And even like then, like Small Spaces was not that creepy. So like just to recap, so I read Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. I give that a 4 out of 5 stars. I read My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and I gave that a 2 stars. And then I read Small Favours by Erin A. Craig, and I gave that a 2 stars. None of these books were horrifying. None of them were horror to me. Like, and I don't know what to expect from a horror. I don't watch horror movies. I don't read horror books. But this is not what I imagined when I hear the words horror. But with Small Spaces, I am giving that 4 stars because I did enjoy the characters and I enjoyed the plot. And it is spooky for a middle grade. And as I said, like, I feel like if I was reading it in like the dark, I probably would have been more scared than I was. But the way Catherine Arden wrote that book, it built tension. And I guess, and none of these other books did that for me. A pretty disappointing reading week, but I am very proud that I actually got through all 3 books. So yay for that, I guess. So that brings us to the end of this video. Next week, you'll also be getting another special vlog, and I will be reading middle grades for the entire week. I'll see how many I can get through, but I am very excited. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.